Greetings and welcome back, gentles and ladiesmen, to the Sonic Adventure 2 research project. I am Exo/Michael, and as always, we are starting off with our Newbie Run. Actually getting into Rouge.
Somewhere around here. Watch the radar at the bottom of the screen and use hints. It's the best way to find them all.
This series in a nutshell. But yeah, so we're actually moving into Rouge's stages now, and I don't know, I guess if we're just comparing Knuckles and Rouge in general, I'd say that Rouge's stages are slightly harder overall than Knuckles' stages when you compare them to their matched pair on the Knuckles side of the story. And that's because Rouge only has 4 stages. There are actually only 9 treasure hunting stages altogether, not 10. That's because one of Rouge's stages is a go-kart level, and that doesn't really count for our purposes. I should reiterate that we are also not going to be playing Cannon's Core because I don't count that as a treasure hunting stage. It's a linear platforming stage where you happen to play as Knuckles and Rouge. So, yeah, but Dry Lagoon, you can consider it Rouge's analog to Knuckles' Wild Canyon. In fact, the level design is very similar. Like, if you remember, Wild Canyon was shaped like a giant T, so to speak. It had that bottom chamber, the upper chamber, and then 2 left and right off to the side. It was shaped like a giant T. This stage, it's like they took the line in the middle of the T and the line that goes through the T. By the way, free emerald right there, but I have to skip it because this is our Newbie Run. So they separated the horizontal and vertical lines in the T into separate parts of the stage. And we passed an Omo Chow earlier that told us that there's another part of the stage we can go to by riding this turtle. So yeah, so I mean, it's possible that you could miss that Omo Chow, but it's like, it's not really the game's fault if you do. But one thing that made this stage really difficult to record for this playthrough, for this series rather, is this area right here. I just didn't know what to do with it. But we'll get more to that later. For now, I guess Rouge in general, she's pretty much the same as Knuckles in terms of control, by the way. Yeah, so you are told about that. Just a heads up for later. But Rouge, she controls pretty much exactly the same as Knuckles, and the only real difference is that she uses her feet to kick things rather than using her fists to punch things. But it's pretty much one-to-one with Knuckles. And even in terms of the upgrades she can get, it's all the same. And just a reminder that none of the upgrades from previous stages will make this stage significantly easier or anything. But yeah, as always, we are doing, for our Newbie runs, I'm defining that as the worst case scenario where you have to check every set piece in the stage 3 times. But with this stage, there's a bit of a twist that we'll get into later. Preferably once we get to the 3rd round of the stage. But what that does mean is that, yes, if we see an emerald shard, like the one that's to my right, we are skipping it until we finish the round, so that we can, I don't know, get the most accurate estimate possible. Like, I'm feeling like this has got to be pretty accurate, but, you know. Alright, so we've finished our round, so now we can go ahead and grab that emerald, which I actually missed because it was blending into the background. Yeah, we finished our first round, so we're going back to the start of the stage to make another loop. But, yeah. I mean, it's been interesting, I guess, to see just how well this whole thing has been received. As I was expecting that, I mean, certainly there are people who are just like, what the hell are you doing this for? It makes no sense. Why are you spending so much time on this? Why are you collecting statistics and doing analysis? And you know, I don't blame those folks, because that does seem a little overboard, but I don't know, it's just for years and years and years, I heard people say, these stages take 20 minutes to beat, and I was like, do they really? I'd honestly like to know. So that was part of it. Another part of it was I wanted to show off my method, I guess, and show how much faster it is, and how, you know, simple and straightforward it seems, and intuitive, given the way that the game tutorializes this playstyle. Like, at the beginning of the stage, we heard straight from Momochow, use the radar and the hints together to find the shards. And it's like, if you're playing this, you can't miss that Omochow. It's at the very beginning. It's like, how do you interact with that and then choose not to use hints? Because, like, as much as I call this the Newbie Run, and as representative as it apparently is for a lot of people, if you're not using hints, you're doing it wrong. That's just the way it is. It's like, I don't know, it's like if you're playing, like, say, Metroid Prime 2 and you're getting your ass kicked by the bosses, and then I say, like, wow, really, I didn't think that game was all that hard. What's your strategy? What's going on there? And they said, like, oh, well, like, it's hard to aim and shoot at the bosses. And then it's just like, oh, well, you're using the lock-on, right? And then the person's like, well, no, I don't want to use the lock-on. That would make the game too easy. It would make me a if I used the lock-on. That would make the game too easy. I'm not going to use the lock-on. The game should be easier to play regardless of the lock-on. Like, that's the equivalent to this situation, is that people are being blatantly told use the hints, but out of some sort of pride that they have to maintain, they won't use them. And it's just like, it would be exactly like if you tried to play Metroid Prime 2 without the lock-on. It would make the game a lot harder, because the game was designed with you using the lock-on in mind. You can't take on Dark Samus without the lock-on. And I mean, I'm sure you can, but you wouldn't want to, because, you know, when you have a single stick sort of tank control scheme like you do in Prime 2, and I should stress, I mean specifically on the GameCube, if you're trying to fight like Dark Samus without using the lock-on, and that's gonna make it a whole hell of a lot harder, because the lock-on is how you strafe and dodge attacks and all that kind of stuff. It would seriously elongate the amount of time you're spending in Metroid Prime 2, and my guess is that if that were a widespread thing, people would hate it. Well, I mean, people kind of don't like it already, but I imagine people would hate it much more than they do already. It's the same thing here. The game designers clearly intended for you to use hints. Like, you look in the manual, they say, use the hints. You look at the tutorial videos in the GameCube version, they say, use the hints. You start up the stages as either Knuckles or Rouge, and the first thing you're told is to use the hints with the radar. And then I have people tell me, it took me 20 minutes to beat Mad Space, and I'm like, did you use hints? And they're like, no. Well, there's your problem. I mean, I know I've got to be a broken record about this whole thing at this point, but I mean, it's just so frustrating, because, you know, it's just like, this doesn't have to be your favorite thing in the world. You don't have to love Knuckles and Rouge treasure hunting. It can be your least favorite gameplay style in the game. It can be, you can prefer SA1 for all I care, but if you're telling me that you are not taking advantage of a core mechanic and that it's taking you a hell of a lot longer, like way past what is reasonable to beat these stages, then it's your own damn fault. You made that choice not to use the hints. Ugh. It's like, I'm aware that the whole points deduction thing for A ranks is a thing, and that's a big deterrent for, you know, regular players. You want to get the A ranks, but, you know, still, I have proven in this playthrough that you can use like only a couple and still get the A rank and still beat the stage fast. But enough of that for now. So the last emerald is in the Oasis prison area, and that's what made this stage in particular difficult to record. So what you're supposed to do is grab onto that turtle to go through that water passage. Like, as you saw at the beginning of the run, like, I made our hypothetical new player just try to go through it normally, but you can't. But the good news is that there's that Omochow right there, so if you're being explorative like you're supposed to be with this playstyle, and you interact with that Omochao, it will tell you straight up, you can ride this turtle through the passage. And it's like the emerald radar is blinking, so you know it's gotta be that way. By the way, that was big back there. And so we're skipping the emerald for now, because we're gonna pretend our guy's an idiot and didn't see it. And we're gonna interact with the Omochao real quick. Yeah, so this is the Oasis Prison. Sometimes the emerald will be right there behind the bars, and you can see it from where the other turtle drops you off in this other part of the stage. But in our case, we're only going to this area once, and yeah, so for the reason for that is usually I will go to each major area of the stage 3 times. But with the Oasis Prison area, I feel like it's a pretty obscure part of the stage, honestly. Like, I've been playing this game for like almost 15 years now, and very rarely when I go replay Dry Lagoon, do I have to go into the Oasis Prison to find an emerald. And when I do, I usually just reset the stage because it's too much trouble. It's more trouble than it's worth. But so like I was. By the way, we're getting back to our full hint run, which once again I'm defining as 1 full round of the stage, plus using hints to get wherever you need to go. And don't worry, the Oasis Prison will once again be our 3rd emerald shard, so that will be included in this run as well. But the thing about the Oasis Prison is that, you know, like I said, I very rarely ever have to go in there, and I feel like figuring out that you're supposed to grab that turtle to get in there it's something like I forget about every time I come back to this game. Like every once in a while I will get the Oasis Prison, an emerald in the Oasis Prison, and I'm just running through the story mode normally, and it'll be like, how do I get this? I don't remember. And then like I'll try to stand on top of the turtle, but that doesn't work. And the turtle's really slow too. And for some reason, like, you can still drown while you're holding on to it, so it's like you gotta grab it at kind of the last minute. It's kind of not the best thing in the world, but, you know, at the same time, it's my own fault for not checking that Omochao that's like right fucking there. So, like, originally, I was just gonna do a run without the Oasis Prison in it at all, and you know, the more I thought about it, the more I was dissatisfied with it. Like, I felt like people would riot or something if I didn't include it in some capacity, so what I decided to do was a compromise approach. Because I feel like people wouldn't figure out to go in there right away, I decided to make it I decided to only go in there once and to make sure that there was an emerald in it when I did. So that Newbie Run you just watched was a little bit more pre-staged than other Newbie Runs. And believe it or not, it took me several tries to get the one I was looking for. So, yeah. Leaving no stone unturned for this whole thing. Yeah, I think we're still in our... Yeah, so the reason why I decided to do only one was because almost always, I find, if there is an emerald in the turtle passage, in the Oasis Prison area, then it will be so on a hexagonal pillar, big Oasis, so that's this area of the stage. If you've been talking to the Omochaos, you should know that. And then our final hint monitor says, on top of the red pillar. So we're looking for a red hexagonal pillar in the big Oasis area, and sure enough, that's where it was. Alright, enchanted pillar. So we're looking for another pillar somewhere. That on its own is not too helpful, but gives you if you're only using one, it gives you an idea that you're looking for one of those. This one says, enchanted pillar in a high place. On the pillar near the 3 stone faces. So the 3 stone faces right there. Omochao tells you all that that's what this area is called. If you use those 3 hints together, you should find that one in no time. But we've got one more emerald left on the tilted pillar. But, so I was just looking for more hint markers. In the water, on a tilted pillar, grab the turtle in the water, it may take you somewhere. Now, it's obviously not this turtle, because we've ridden it in a couple times just now, and we haven't found anything. But we go down here, and sure enough, there's another turtle right there. And so, like, on the tilted pillar, in the water, grab the turtle in the water, it may take you somewhere. So it's gotta be in the Oasis prison area. And, in terms of grabbing onto the turtle, that actually happened by accident. Like, I just kind of got close to it and pressed the button. I tried to get, like, on top of it and press the button, but... Yeah, see, you can drown while you're grabbing this thing, and if you have to let go, then it takes you all the way back out, so it's like... Yeah, but luckily for me, I grabbed it. So... Yeah. That's our full hint run right there. And as you can see, just by eyeballing the numbers, we saved like 6.5 to 7 minutes just by using hints. And that's well within 5 minutes, so for first stage, I think that's alright. But, yeah, so now we're getting into our trial run, so you can see just how quickly you can beat the stage if you use my usual method. I don't know why I grabbed that Omo Chow, because that means it's going to take me longer to grab the hints. For some reason, you can't skip the dialogue, and you're not allowed to read hints while Omo Chow is blathering on a hexagon pillar. So just from my knowledge of the stage, from previous playthroughs, I know that the hexagon pillars are in this area in the big oasis. So that means it's got to be around here, and sure enough, that's where it is. So now we go talk to our next one, Razor Plant. So we can see that there are quite a few plants around. But it's probably one of those pointier ones. So you just... Actually, there's a free emerald down there, and I grab it. Like, in the trial runs, if I see a freebie, I'm grabbing it. So, because of that, I get to use a second hint for that one. So we know we're looking for a razor plant in a high place. And since we aren't getting any beeping around here, that means we ought to head back over to this area, the long part of the T, the vertical part. So I'll go ahead and climb up this wall real quick, and eventually it's gotta ping, because it's gotta be somewhere in the stage, you know? So we'll do a quick round over here, and we should find it pretty quickly, I think. Oh, we got a ping! Looks like it's gotta be that plant right over there. Yep, there it is. Now it does kind of blend in, but if you're using hints, you'll know it's there, so... I don't know what to tell you. Hints, hints, hints. Use the goddamn hints. I got my A rank and I finished in 1 minute and 23 seconds, which is actually not too far off from the average for Adventure 1. So, yeah. Clearly, the game designers intended for you to use hints. That's all I'll say for now. I wonder how many of you actually got that reference. No, that wasn't a very good Dr. Cortex impression on my part. Underwater balcony. So, because I've played the stage several times in a row at this point, but, you know, even casually, I would guess that would be in the big oasis area on a balcony, and sure enough, there it is. It's like, even a cursory understanding of the level layout pays huge dividends. You don't need to memorize the location of all 100 possible emerald placements in the stage for experience to be helpful. You just need to know the general layout, that's enough. Mix that with a few hints and you're good to go. These stages aren't that hard and they don't take that long if you play them the way they were intended to be played. Oh, another freebie. Above the small oasis, so I know because I played this before that small oasis means this area. So all we gotta do now is Guns Jar. Oh yeah, because I got a freebie, I got 2 of them, so for that 1 shard. So Guns Jar in the small oasis. So we go up here, and there, see, as you can see, there are jars. So all we gotta do is find the one that blinks red, and that's the one that blinks red. And sure enough, there's our emerald. And I'm gonna see that's about 1 minute and 22. That's about the adventure average, which I think is like 1 minute and 20 seconds. Got an A rank. Clearly, I'm just saying, this is clearly what they wanted you to do. like, for newer players, you know, they have 3 hint levels for a reason. You know, and it's like, yeah, it reduces your bonus points, and if you use 3 per shard, you're probably not going to get the A rank, but, you know, if you're a new player, you don't care about the rank. I don't care what your favorite reviewer with over 100,000 subscribers who made a 5-minute review of this game said. If you are a new player, you do not care about the rank. You care about finishing the stage fast, because nobody wants to be in these stages for 20 minutes. I mean, clearly just the fact that so many people hate these stages because of that is an indicator that people would prefer that they not take longer, but apparently we don't prefer that enough that we're willing to use essential mechanics, and that just doesn't make sense to me, but whatever. Behind the rubble. Just from my previous knowledge of the stage, I would assume that is referring to the rubble underwater in the huge oasis part of the stage. So you just grab onto the turtle boy over here. Sure enough, it's blinking, so it's gotta be down there. But just in case, I guess I decided to check up there. I don't remember why. So we just move around real quick. Should go find, looks like it's blinking about here-ish. It's gotta be somewhere. Oh wait, there it is. Now, if behind the rubble wasn't direct enough, just use a second hint. You have the option. On top of a palm tree. That's pretty specific. We know we're looking for a palm tree, so if we go over here and we don't see a palm tree, we're heading the wrong way. So we just turn around and head back over to the 3-head wall. Sure enough, it's blinking yellow next to this tree. You climb up, and sure enough, there's our emerald. For some reason, it's a difficult one to get. I don't know why. That run took a little longer, but, you know, it's still 2 minutes. Not too bad. I'm not going to guarantee that if you use just one hint, you're going to finish the stage that fast. Still got my A, by the way. But I do guarantee that, like, people who are familiar with these stages, like if you played Adventure 2 like front to back a million times, but never used the hints for whatever reason, just do a little experiment for yourself, so to speak. Pop in the game and play the stage and use 3 hints for every shard and see how fast you beat it. Like, even if you've played it only once before and you think that these stages take 20 minutes each and that's inevitable unless if you've played this game for 10 years. Go use 3 hints per shard and see how long it takes you. Like, if you have even a cursory knowledge of the level layouts, like if you've played this game at least once, like using 3 hints per shard will be more than enough to help you find that emerald piece you're looking for. As it's like, do people really think that it's like there just seems to be this impression, and maybe I'm doing a straw man thing right here, but this is just what it feels like. This is what people seem to think, as far as I can tell. That the game designers intended for you to bumble around like an idiot for 20 minutes in these stages. Or that they just didn't test it enough to know that it could be like that. Like, I really don't think... Like, say what you will about Sonic Team, moving between the big and small pillars. So, we see 2 pillars there that are one slightly taller than the other, so it's gotta be over there. Oh wait, it's right there. Maybe it means like the enchanted pillar next to the 3-headed wall? I'm not sure quite, really. Minute and 30. But, like, you know, say what you will, A rank, by the way, say what you will about Sonic Team's game design and about how smart they are or how capable they are. Like, I seriously doubt they ever intended for anyone to spend more than 10 minutes in these stages. And the only way it could take that long is if you don't use hints. And, you know, I don't know. I feel like I've blathered enough about that. It's... I don't know, it's just baffling to me. Like if someone, you know, back to my Metroid Prime 2 example, if someone said that they played Metroid Prime 2 without the lock-on, that they hated it and that it was too hard, first thing people would say in response would probably be, get good, use the lock-on. People would be like incredulous that the person would skip the lock-on like that. But with this game, apparently it's okay to ignore a central mechanic because it hurts your pride, I guess. I'm a little salty in this particular round. Another freebie, by the way. Like, that happens surprisingly often. High place. I don't know if I just got lucky with these 5 recordings, but the fact that I found so many freebies is, you know, would seem to suggest that the RNG tends to be helpful more so than it is harmful, I guess. There we go. We got our I think that's our last one, our last trial run. So 1 minute and 18 seconds, which is pretty good, about the adventure average. A rank, bitch. So that all 5 tries, I got an A rank, and those were just like the first 5 runs I happened to that I happened to have there. So yeah, hints help, folks. Hints help. Spread the word like gospel. Tell everyone you know. Hints help. Like, I don't, like, you know, I am doing this whole research project thing to, like, prove it and everything. And that's part of why I'm even uploading these parts to begin with, instead of, you know, just doing all the analysis and leaving it like that. Because when you see them in action and you sort of understand the mindset of how they work, that, I think, is illustrative on its own. So, yeah. Hints help. Tell everyone you know. Give it a try yourself. Worst case scenario, it takes as long as it did before. Best case scenario, it'll take you a lot less time than it would otherwise. The hints are in the game for a reason, folks. But I digress. Let's take a quick peek at our stats, and we'll head on out for the day. Alright, Dry Lagoon. So our newbie run was 10 minutes and 22 seconds. Our full hint run was 4 minutes and 26 seconds. So just eyeballing the data, you can see that that's quite a substantial reduction. Like, I think it's like routinely I find that if you use hints, you can like halve the amount of time you spend in stages. But I digress. So trial run scores are all there. As you can see, there's not very much variation among those. Like, and that part of that's because I didn't end up having the Oasis Prison show up in any of those, but like I said, the Oasis Prison is pretty rare anyway. The trial mean is 1 minute and 30 seconds, plus or minus 15 seconds. That's actually pretty close to the adventure average. Full hint minus newbie, you could save, I estimate you could save about 5 minutes and 56 seconds at least, if you use 3 hints per shard and happen to know about the whole looking at them from the pause menu thing. Trial mean minus newbie, you can save 8 minutes and 52 seconds and 54 seconds based on experience. And if you look at the difference between that, you save about an additional 3 minutes from experience compared to just using 3 hints per shard as an inexperienced player. So yeah, once again, our results indicate that hints help. So if the rich data wasn't enough for you, there's the quantitative data to back it up. So yeah, that was Dry Lagoon. Sorry if this part was a little more dry than usual, or salty, but it's been kind of a long week, and I'm only just now getting around to recording this and recording that new newbie run for you guys. And yeah, so I don't know, I hope you enjoyed the part anyway, but if you didn't, well, the next part will be more cheery, I promise you. So until then, I'm Exio, and I'll see you guys for Egg Quarters with a guest. I haven't decided which one yet, but should be a real treat either way. So yeah, see you guys then.